Welcome to the latest Gould-Fish pod. Would you believe me if I told you we had a lot to talk about? I'm Matt Gould.
Yeah, I would have to say that. Well, I'm Ryan Fish, but yes,
Yeah,
it's been a
we are.
action-packed week to say the least. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump right in here with the biggest story. Obviously, that being that Cody Rhodes is apparently done with his AEW tenure, and we don't know where he'll be moving on, but that's kind of what we're going to open up with. Fish, what was your immediate reaction when you saw the whole Cody not coming back situation?
So my immediate thought was he was going to go do his thing in Hollywood and be in some movies and TV series and stuff like that, since he's part of the Go Big show, Rhodes to the Top. I just figured that that's where he's going to want to spend his time doing. And since, him and Tony weren't coming to terms with negotiating, I just figured, well, maybe this is his time. He's like, all right, well, maybe wrestling isn't for me at the moment. I'm going to go do my own thing. So that's where my immediate thoughts have been.
My immediate thoughts, actually, real quick, what's something interesting about the Rhodes to the Top show? I thought it was a Warner project. It is actually an AEW production.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that until I started digging into it. So,
wow.
In theory, renewed or not, there probably can't be a continuation of
I don't
the
think
Rhodes
so.
to the Top show. So, but the Go Big show, that is entirely, obviously, that's a entirely Warner product. So there's still that.
Right.
My immediate reaction was he is, because the only reason I say that is because I don't like to be like the newsletter mark, so to speak. But like, if you just look at Twitter, like everyone should open Twitter and assume that you're reading some of the most untrustworthy people that you've ever read. And I'm not talking about like people who actually their profession is reporting, or they have websites that earn them income with sources and things like that. But like when you see, I don't know, I don't want to accidentally name a real
Joe
account.
Random.
Yeah, when you see Wrestle Random on Twitter and the profile picture is a blurry shot of Kenny Omega from 2014, and they tweet something out as sources indicating Cody Rhodes no longer returning, heading to WWE. Like, if you don't read something like that with the spelling errors and the missed punctuation and
the grammar, yeah,
and spelling the word through THRU instead of typing it out, like, don't fall for it, please, for the love of God. And that's not going to help because people do anyways. But
we're like, Twitter 101 lesson here.
Yeah, essentially, if their profile picture is just a letter, which honestly ours still is, so I should probably fix that. But we don't
taking a dig at ourselves now.
We don't claim to be reporters, though. That's not what we do.
Don't.
So that was my first reaction, and then finally, some more credible sources actually started to tweet out information that they had already put up on their website. So my initial reaction was, really? And then after waiting for about 20 minutes or so, my reaction was, wow. Like, I didn't know what to think, because there's the people who are so short-sighted that they're just saying, oh, he's going to go to WWE. Or, oh, it's a work, and he's just working a storyline or something. Like, those were the two biggest reactions, which I just think Cody Rhodes is a more nuanced person than that. He does a lot of stuff. He's very active, like you said. He's always been clear about how he wants to be an actor. And he has also said before that he wanted to be done wrestling by the age of 35, and he's 36. Now, plans change, so it's not like you should take that as he's never going to wrestle again. But the writing was always on the wall, so to speak. Everything that he had said prior kind of indicated that this wasn't going to be forever. I'm just surprised at the way that it kind of all went down.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely came down very fast.
Yes, very quickly.
Like, just all of a sudden, really. I mean, you knew that he had the promo saying that he's working on handshake deal at the moment, with his contract and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, literally the news just fell out of the sky.
And if you'll recall, in that same promo, he had mentioned that he is about to go on a journey that hasn't been done before, or he said something like that. And, technically speaking, a journey that hasn't been done before, I don't think any wrestler has jumped from AEW to WWE. So that very well could have been it. There very well could have been other plans, and when they didn't reach an agreement, those plans faded. So you never really know what he was referring to there. But Cody has always done and part of this is him being great at his job. He's always been just ambiguous enough.
Right.
You have to think about what Cody's going to do. And you think of all the biggest stars on the AEW show, it's very easy to say that a guy like Kenny means more than Cody Rhodes. It's easy to say that about Jericho. Punk, Danielson, it's very easy to say all that about them.
Moxley, you can even throw in there.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're even missing a couple, but it's very easy to say that. But think about this from a star power perspective. How many of those guys have been asked to host game shows or been approached about reality shows? Now, we don't know the actual answer to that. And certainly Moxley and Punk and some of these guys have done like a little bit of acting here or there.
Right.
But not as prominent and in the public face as some of the stuff that Cody has done. So
I was just say, especially in the advertisement, even, for AEW, they have the Go Big show during those segments and stuff. So it's like he's getting national recognition. I mean, when you work with Snoop and Rosario Dawson and
T-Pain.
T-Pain this season. So I mean, like, you just have some star-studded power that you're working with.
There's lots of things behind the scenes that, they're bigger than simply Cody not being on AEW. What, if you had to make a prediction, where is the next place we will see Cody?
So I've also saw on Twitter that everything is kind of going to WWE, but I would want to say, I think he'll be back for Ring of Honor.
Do you think so?
I think so. I think Ring of Honor is going to be his destination.
So there is some merit to that, actually, in a sense that when Cody left WWE in 2016, his entire goal was he made a list of all the opponents that he wanted to wrestle. He put it out into the internet, and over the course of the next year or so, he organized all of those matches and had almost all of the matches that he wanted to have. And it really, in a weird, different kind of way, it elevated Cody beyond just that of a guy who wore a suit and some makeup within the WWE. And he definitely made himself feel like a bigger deal in that process. And all of it essentially led to him meeting the Bucks and Kenny, and him eventually getting into Ring of Honor, into New Japan, doing all of these other things that totally skyrocketed Cody and all of those other guys' careers. So you could look at it and say, Cody's going to do the same thing here. He hasn't been getting reactions that he wanted. He's not interested in being a heel, at least outright. I mean, we always thought he is being a heel. He's just not outwardly saying it, but there's everything that has happened could lead you to believe that he's just going to go on another 6 to 12-month run of having fun wherever he wants, doing some acting before ultimately returning. So the idea of him,
I think it fits the narrative as where I think he's going into acting and stuff. I think like Ring of Honor, even Impact, that they would give him the time off that he would want to, or WWE, I don't necessarily think that he would get that.
Yeah, I mean, he would be walking into a situation where they're going to be paying him a lot of money, and then he would be turning around and saying, "Oh, well, can I go do all this other stuff too?" And they probably wouldn't be down with that.
Right.
So there's certainly that aspect of it. I also thought, well, if he is going to go on Cody's World Tour Part 2, there's always the chance that he ends up going after the NWA title again. That was something that he did prior to the creation of AEW. He won the title at All In, the biggest independent show to have ever existed, to my knowledge. And he went on a good run with it, brought it to New Japan, had a couple more great matches with it, and then AEW started. So he certainly could go on one of those little world tours again. I personally think he's just going to end up in WWE. I was back and forth on a lot of that. I didn't necessarily there's so many things that don't make sense. If money was the thing, then I guess WWE solves the money problem. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that money is the only reason why he's not coming back, which is a whole separate conversation. Now, there's talk of the fact that he didn't have the same creative power as he did before. And that's also another viable reason. However,
yeah, very well could be.
In my mind, why would you then pick somewhere to go that you're guaranteed to have less creative control?
Was it absolutely zero that's going to get changed on the spot?
And WWE likes to do this thing where sometimes they'll bring somebody in who's a really big name and they want to do the right thing. And so the very first feud that person will do will be great. They'll have all this input. They'll get to do that. But then, like, once the feud is over, there's nothing that says that person's ever going to get the same creative control that they did when they first came in, because they had a point to prove. They wanted to make this guy good. They didn't want fans to turn and say, oh, they buried a guy they just signed. So they gave him, they threw him a bone and then sent him right back to the never ending middle, so to speak.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, you can say a lot of people obviously have, been in that situation. I mean, kind of look at AJ Styles too. I mean, he's kind of not been in any prominent roles that I'm aware of.
No,
I mean, the only people that really there's only 3 people that are talked about really in WWE. It's Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and what we like to call him on this podcast, Bobby Ashley. So
yeah. Yes, we do like to call him that. So yeah, my prediction is that Cody shows up, has a big time WrestleMania match, and then disappears into the void known as the mid card WWE, which it's not the mid card, because like I can't even fathom calling some of these talented guys like Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet. I mean, the list goes on.
You can even Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, Free Ali. But I don't even feel right calling them the mid card, because that's not what they are. Like, they are so talented, but like that's just the position they're given on the show. And I don't know that Cody survives avoiding the never ending middle for longer than a few months if he goes there. And it's, again, not fault of his own. Like, when he comes in, I imagine it'll be a big deal, and then 4 or 5 months later, it's going to be like, remember when they brought in Cody and this is what he's doing now? And to your point,
and you can never fault anyone who's trying to secure the bag.
Oh no, not
money wise. So it's just like, you just have to know what you're signing up for. So when you see people like resign, like, what they're signed up for.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
That's not the problem. Like, they're doing what's best for like their self-interest, and that's definitely not the problem.
No.
But like, when people just kind of complain and like, well, I thought things would be different, I'm like, come on. Like,
well, that's your fault then. At that point, yes. It does become your fault.
Yes. So that's where it's just like, it's either the money or like go to AEW and have like better matches. So it's like, when you kind of weigh those options, you're like, if you take the money, you just know that you're not going to have much creative control.
And I know that Cody thinks very highly of himself. And one of the big things was he was going to leave. And a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to leave and come back. And then to your point, AJ Styles, he came in to the Royal Rumble, and got a big reaction. He actually had a really great feud with John Cena, beat him a couple times, won the WWE title, held it for a very long time. He was the feature guy on SmackDown for almost 2 years. And then 2018, 2019 rolled around, and he's just in whatever they have laying around for him now, which...
Yeah, he tagged with Omos.
Yeah. And then they blew that feud off in the middle of just some random week. Like, there was one year, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but Randy Orton didn't have a WrestleMania opponent. And I don't know, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. And like, it was a good match, but it was just a random match that here's two guys.
No substance.
Yeah. So even AJ, who is still protected and prominently featured, he is nowhere near featured in the capacity that he was when he debuted. Right. So,
and like I said, just earlier, there's only 3 main guys in WWE.
Yeah. And honestly, counting Bobby Lashley into that might be a stretch. I mean, he's put in that position, but if he's ever in a scenario with Brock or Roman, he will never be the one protected.
He's the odd man out for sure. Absolutely. And
he'll probably lose his title in an elimination chamber match this weekend with 5 other guys, which I'm not sure how you win the title at the Royal Rumble, regardless, in weird, a non-legit way. Frankly, that's what it was.
Right.
And then you're forced to turn around and defend it in a gigantic steel structure with 5 other dudes. Like, he's just shafted, and that's that. he's up there, but he's still constantly shafted.
Right. And you can even say kind of like, Kevin Owens, but like I still don't even put Kevin Owens up to Bobby Ashley.
No, although he will get the big Steve Austin match should that happen.
Right. But until that point, he's still not
and
even the top
even
three.
after that point, he's just the guy they picked to have Austin's return match, which is a great honor, but past being the guy that was picked for the return match, there's no
jobbed out.
There's no substance to it after that.
Yeah.
He was just the guy they picked, and it's cool. It'll probably be great for him, but I feel
looks good on the resume, and that's about it.
Yeah, it does. So I think Cody ends up in WWE, 1-2 big feuds, and then he goes the way of the rest of those guys, which technically all of that, if that's where he ends up, is still a significantly higher role than he had when he was there the first time. So if his goal was to go back and be a bigger star, technically he will have done that. So if he's a goal guy and that's what he's after, oh, good for him for achieving his goal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the worst thing he could probably do is be like Dolph Ziggler and go challenge for the NXT championship belt.
Well, don't even go there, because that might be far on the list of things that he'll end up doing. So you never know. But
you heard it here first on the Gould-Fish pod. Cody Rhodes going after the NXT championship.
If he does do that, this is definitely the first place anyone will have heard it. But anyway, we can go on to more of the people who are still actually around. Let's talk about a little Dynamite. I thought it was a tremendous show. Yeah,
very solid show, to say the least. Very solid. But, it's nice when you started off with CM Punk too. That's always a fun little treat.
It is. And we'll start on that. I just wanted to mention that I think I texted you, and I don't know if this is the wording that I used, but I think I liked 99% of that show.
Yeah, I think it was, roughly close to what you just said.
So anyway, started out with CM Punk. What do you think?
CM Punk was I just love CM Punk. Like there's I mean, him just cutting promos just in the middle of the ring doesn't get too much better than that.
Sometimes he is the guy where you got to remind him where real stops and work begins.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. He gets the Eddie Kingston treatment.
Yeah. So he's sitting cross-legged in the ring, as he tends to do, and he's got this box in front of him. And the opening line he used about how he is better than you because he's straight edge and he doesn't do drugs and he doesn't drink. That is literally, I think, word for word, the line he used when he introduced the Straight Edge Society, which was a group that actually featured Luke Gallows. Back when he was, I think Festus was his name. That was it. Just Festus. Wow. But he had this group of people who he would literally bring in, shave their head, initiate them as somebody who was never.
Wasn't Serena Deeb a part of that too?
Not Serena Deeb. I forget her name.
I thought it was.
No. I think the girl's name in WWE was Serena, maybe. But I forget her name. It's somebody who has never used. She was signed around the time that Dr. Luther was signed, like originally. And she was paired up with Brandy Rhodes for a little while when they were going to do their weird faction. I totally forget her name. I don't even know if she's under contract anymore, but it was really just some random girl. That's the best I know her for. But Serena might have been her name, but it wasn't Serena Deeb.
We'll have the listeners put the comments in of who the wrestler was.
Put a comment. Who was the woman that was pulled out of the crowd and had her head shaved in the Straight Edge Society? So it was cool. Like that was the exact line. And then he's like, that might sound familiar. That was how he was when he was younger. And he said that he was not mad at MJF for what he did. He was actually proud of MJF for the way that he beat him. But you can tell that like CM Punk, the general essence of the way he talked was, I will not be bothered until you can prove that you can beat me in some legitimate form. So MJF has beat him twice, and he's staring in the face of a man who is completely unaffected by the way that MJF beat him. And I thought it was gold.
Right. I mean, technically the two losses was being choked out and then the ring.
Yeah. Both non-legit means.
So, yeah, I mean, he definitely made the point that was awesome. And I like the little touch was his shirt was an MJF shirt, and it says mid on it.
Yes, that was great. That really was great. So he keeps talking about how MJF thinks he's a number of guys, but mainly Piper in Portland. Roddy Piper was very big in the Portland wrestling scene. And I think Roddy Piper is probably one of like the biggest stars ever to, I think, never have actually won a world title. I don't think he ever won the world title, but he would come in, he would feud with Hulk Hogan. People would hate him. He would feud with whoever the best guy was, whoever the most favorite good guy was in all these territories, starting in Portland, where he's like a god. So he kept bringing that up. And the reason he kept bringing it up and the whole Valentine aspect of it is Roddy Piper has one of his most famous matches, which was a dog collar match against Greg Valentine. So he's got this box, and I thought when he asked MJF to be his Valentine, if he thinks that he's really Roddy Piper in Portland, I thought that was a really nice touch. And MJF actually coming out to see the picture of him and CM Punk was gold.
Couldn't say anything. He was speechless.
No, yeah. He brings out this little picture, and the picture is CM Punk from back in the day and MJF as a child. And CM Punk says that that Friday or whatever day it was.
It was just another Friday for him.
Yeah, it was probably the best day of MJF's life. And for CM Punk, it was just Friday. And when he beats the hell out of MJF, it'll be the worst night of his life. And just a Sunday for MJF or for Punk. So,
yeah, just another Sunday.
And MJF had no response to this. He wanted to say something, but got really downtrodden and just left. Had nothing to say.
Dropped the mic and walked into the bad guy tunnel.
Yep. And I thought it was done excellent. I'm very excited for that match.
Yeah, overall, phenomenal segment.
Very good.
And then we move on to the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty.
Did something happen in between? Was there like a promo or something?
Was there a promo?
All right. So before they got to the Danielson and Moriarty match, they had the Luchasaurus Jungle Boy Christian promo, which wasn't that big. Essentially, they said there's going to be two battle royals. The winning teams of these two battle royals, they will be in a three-way for the title shot. And Jungle Boy made the joke about how he loves a good three-way, which was funny.
Yes.
All right. And then after that, they did the Danielson Moriarty match, which was fucking outstanding.
Oh, that was incredible. I mean, they both played their parts really well.
They sure did. And they beat the living shit out of each other.
Some of those were Danielson hit him, and like it looked like he hit him hard. And,
oh yeah.
And then Lee just got up, and I think he like took offense to a few of them and just hit Danielson right back.
So it was good, obviously, from start to finish, but there was a point in the match where Moriarty reversed some kind of capture that Danielson had done, and he flips over Danielson, and they both bridge up onto their heads.
Yes,
still connected to one another, kinda.
And they're punching each other in the stomach.
And at that point, the crowd was already really into this. They got way more into this after seeing that smooth spot. I love that. I also got more into it, even more so once they did that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's something that you never see.
No.
Or if you do, it's very sparingly. But yeah, overall, like the stuff they did was very well planned and thought out.
Bryan Danielson, just in the way he does just about everything, I'm amazed every time I watch him, truly.
And I think he definitely unlocked a lot for Lee Moriarty too, where it's like, Lee's been good, but like kind of hasn't had that like signature match yet. And I think this one will definitely propel him a little bit more into the spotlight now.
And it's kind of like in New Japan when they're training young lions, they'll put young lions on TV. These are people who haven't gone away on their excursion yet. These are people who are in training. And in New Japan, they're a lot more strict in a sense that if you're a young lion, you can do headlocks, grappling, drop kicks, a Boston Crab, and that's it. You are actually not allowed. You are forced to try and put together a good 6 to 8 minute match using nothing but basics. And all of them get really good at it. And then they come back and add all this stuff that you've never seen them do before. You watch these guys wrestle for a year, and then all of a sudden they have all this new stuff, and it makes them look so much better. Like they're like, oh, everyone's like, oh shit, these guys are great. They're having all these great 6-minute matches, and now all of a sudden here they are. And like, I think that's what we're looking at with Moriarty. He always did basic things really well, would mix in a little more flair here and there. But in this match, you saw him do a bunch of stuff that you're not used to him seeing do. And it was like, Jesus, look at Moriarty. I had no idea, even though like we all kind of knew.
Yeah. And I think it definitely like still furthers that storyline that Danielson wanted Lee Moriarty in his faction. So like, I think that definitely helps.
In the end, he still dominated him. He hit him with the running knee, stomped on his face, put him in a triangle, and the ref stopped the match. But he had the perfect balance of both dominating Lee in the end while still showing the audience that, yes, this is a guy I want in my faction for good reason.
Yeah, and still gave him offense.
Yes. So he beats him in brutal fashion with the head stomps and the triangle. And then he demands that Jon Moxley come out and give him an answer. And my God, were these promos outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, I actually was not sure how this was going to go, honestly.
I wasn't either.
I really, you always hear Jon Moxley, kind of the lone wolf in it, he just kind of does his own thing, has like a few friends, and that's kind of been Eddie and Darby.
Yep.
But yeah, just really like on his own. I was like, maybe he does like, kind of do what he did with the Inner Circle, kind of keep teasing. Yeah, I'll be part of the faction.
And I think that Danielson, like the Danielson character right now, is that of somebody who is so confident that like he wants Jon Moxley and he knows how good Jon Moxley is. But I don't think in Danielson's head, he believes that he's going to lose. Like, I think he believes that Jon Moxley is that good. But I think there's just that belief that he's just not going to lose. And so my prediction is that they do wrestle at Revolution. Moxley beats him and then goes to give him the handshake. It looks like he's going to accept, and Danielson just can't accept that somebody has bested him, turns on Moxley, and then goes and creates his faction anyways.
Does it anyway.
Yeah. And Bryan Danielson's character is like kind of a petty guy, and that kind of fits in line with him being petty. So
yeah, he gives the tease to the crowd. He's like, you want to see me wrestle him? Just he did that. And so yeah, I mean, he definitely is kind of that overconfident guy, but like he also can obviously back it up too. But it's like he has that undenying confidence in his self that he doesn't like, not the typical bad guy.
Yeah.
So like I think it's a nice, a refreshing bad guy.
So Moxley tells the story of the time that he and Danielson were scheduled to wrestle about 10 years ago on a random indie show, and how Danielson was late and he stood toe to toe with this guy that they called the best wrestler in the world. And he's never beaten Bryan Danielson, but he did say that he will not join up with somebody who he has not yet bled with. And so I feel as if they will have a very, very good brawl style match. I just wonder if there will actually be blood, because if it's at Revolution, there will definitely be blood in the dog collar match. So I don't know how much juice they're going to do on one show, but it would make sense to me that they bleed together. Danielson gets angry about it anyways, and that's my thought. But
yeah, well, I just also want to point out Moxley still didn't give him an answer. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. No. So
exactly. So it's to be continued.
It is a yes, to be continued. He took a rain check on the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I mean, great match led to a great segment.
Yeah, and anything with any of these guys, literally anything with any of the guys that we've talked about on the show so far, even Lee Moriarty, is gold. Like, it's hard to go wrong with who you've featured on the show so far.
Correct. And then I don't know if there was another. I thought the Jungle Boy promo was after this one, so I don't know if there was a promo after this one.
This one was the Keith Lee video promo, and he just talked about how he's got all these phases, and eventually he'll be the TNT champion.
Gotcha. And then the next match was Wardlow versus Max Caster.
So like I think there was some interference stuff that was mistimed, but in general, like I'm glad that these guys got time, and I think it was done in a way that was a little bit better than the way that they did it against the Blade.
The Blade,
in a sense that I don't even know how much Wardlow had to sell, but if most of it happened during that commercial, where you don't have to look right at it. So
right.
So that was
protect him a little bit.
Very well produced in that sense, and everything from when they came back was from break. I was good. It was great. I mean, it was what you'd think you'd get from those two guys, but sometimes when you just give people what they're expecting, that's good enough.
And Max Caster did not look bad in that match.
No, he and Bowens always look, at the very minimum, they look pretty good, even when they're wrestling someone with lesser experience than Wardlow. And also, how awesome is it that Wardlow has managed to get a power bomb? Like, forget the symphony, a power bomb, a move that's been around for however long, and people go crazy when he goes to throw that guy in between his legs to lift him
one more
up.
time.
They are all amped, and much like everyone else who has faced Wardlow, Max Caster fell victim to the powerbomb symphony, and then Bowens made a really bad decision in the aftermath.
He wanted to join in.
And keep in mind, Shawn Spears was literally watching his stablemate in Wardlow get double teamed.
Attacked.
And I don't know if this was noticed. I don't know if you picked this up, because the way it was on camera, it was kind of off to the side. But Shawn Spears was accidentally distracting the ref. It wasn't Bowens. Bowens didn't distract the ref when Caster hit him with those chains. Spears was up on the apron, and the referee was distracted.
I did not see that.
And I don't know what he was doing, and it was kind of like on the corner of the camera. Maybe I'm inventing something out of thin air, but I don't think so. But that was why Wardlow got hit with the chains to begin with. And then Shawn Spears was not seen again. Even when Bowens tried to attack Wardlow,
right,
Shawn Spears waited for Wardlow to powerbomb all of them before he came in and hit the chair. And so just more stuff building to what we all expect to eventually happen.
Wardlow was not too happy again after.
No, he was pissed. Rightfully so.
Oh, man. But yeah, the one more time chant from the crowd just gets me.
Yes. I mean, one of these days, somebody's going to have to take a lot of them, and they're not going to really know when to stop.
CM Punk took a lot of them.
Yeah, he did. That was the entire match. Some of that was a little frightening. Poor CM Punk.
And he went on a table too and did it.
Oh yeah, and that was brutal as well.
Oh man! But then we had backstage. Was it backstage? No, it wasn't backstage. This is the match and the ring. Tony Schiavone had his in-ring interview with Hangman.
Oh, right before this though, they had the Britt Baker, Mercedes Martinez, and company, and the Karate Kid, Martin Cove, in his full attire.
Yes, the Cobra Kai.
Yes, which I don't know why they did that. It doesn't matter. I just thought it was random.
The little cameo was funny.
But yes, Britt Baker had asked what she should do if Mercedes doesn't come through, and he reminded her that I already told you. I already told you what to do. And then we got after that, we got good old Tony Schiavone and the Hangman.
Yeah, and then of course Hangman probably gets 2 words in before he's interrupted.
Naturally.
Of course. By Adam Cole.
Of all people, this was a pretty good back and forth.
A lot of people do like Hangman with the Dark Order, and he has been away from the Dark Order. So
we talked about that.
Yes, and Adam Cole put out some very, very good points to he might be the problem.
He might. And you know what? I don't know if this is all planned. And I love the Hangman, so I hate even suggesting something like this. But I feel as if maybe people should clue him in on some of the zingers they're going to fire at him. Because I feel like he is never getting the best of a verbal exchange. Seriously, he has all these smart, funny lines. And then well, Adam, you don't have the best history with relationships either. He's not wrong, but that's the best that he can come up with. and God bless the crowd, because they popped like that line like he just insulted Adam Cole's mother, and they came out of their seats almost for it. Not actually, but they were pretty hype about it. But
Right.
the problem is that line is a dig at Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who are now friends after they tried to murder each other in NXT, which of course, yeah, Adam Cole, kind of an asshole in that storyline, but you would have had to have been a regular NXT viewer to get that reference without it being explained to you. It was just too kind of like fly by night, just throw it in there type of line. But Adam Cole did suggest all of those things about Hangman, and Hangman got a little upset.
He did.
And Adam Cole immediately begged off. Well, no, buddy. That's not what I meant. I respect you, so I want to be frank with you, being straight up. And Hangman reluctantly shakes this guy's hand. And then I knew by the way they filmed it, just the way they shot Adam Cole walking up the ramp, that someone was flying in through the back of the ring. And poor fucking Hangman, man, just the victim of another beatdown.
Not only does he get beat down, he doesn't even get to like have his own talking promo before he gets interrupted, then has to go at someone, and then gets beaten up.
Poor guy. It's a good thing he has such great matches.
And then the Dark Order came out to make the save. Yeah.
And then apparently Preston Vance needed to poorly beat up a bunch of security guards. So like
he did. And I think one of them was a Baron Black from Dark.
Oh,
he's like I think he was one of the security guards.
Yeah. Anytime you see security guards in wrestling that get beat up, those are normally just indie wrestlers or guys from AEW Dark that.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vance 10 just went off and started just throwing security guards left and right.
Oh yeah. And
I don't get that one.
I don't get it either, but apparently, even though all of those security guards came down to save Preston Vance's friend, he was still mad at all the security guards. He was mad enough at Adam Cole that he beat all of the security guards who were there to help him. He beats him up to set up a match with Adam Cole. I'm confused, but whatever.
That
one
it
was
did make
funny.
sense.
It was funny. It just I didn't understand.
Was there another promo between this? I'm off with my promos this week.
I got you on the promos. This was Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. The promo for the match later in the night. And essentially, it was them kind of explaining how far they've come, both wrestling against each other and kind of doing their own endeavors. Darby kind of in his little cryptic, I'm very emo style, noted that he feels most complete when he was the TNT champion and proclaims that he needs this, which is something that Sammy has also proclaimed. So that was just a little hype package.
But yeah, so then the next match was Le Champion, the Demo God, Chris Jericho, and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz.
Jericho and Ortiz, blah, I'm already butchering this. Jericho and Hager both looked in incredible shape, which Jericho needed it.
Hager looked, wow, his physique just popped.
Yeah, he really did. And Jericho is clearly slimmed down, and he had the little hospital stay. So I know that he probably, recovered, got his ass back, did the things he needed to do, and he's much better off for it. There was some timing issues, but ultimately I thought he looked good, better than he has been looking prior to December. Santana and Ortiz looked as good as they've ever looked. Right.
No, it was, definitely body and physique wise, everyone looked to be on par, kind of where they should have been. I mean, obviously Hager to me has always been a beast, but he kind of looked
more so this time.
Right.
You and I got to get on the inner circle training regimen.
Yeah, I know. I need to whatever they're doing. I need it.
Ortiz dropped all the weight, got cut. Santana getting huge. Jericho
but not like fat. Like there's no
not at all.
Like he still has like a flat stomach. Yes. Like muscles are still popping out.
I was a little surprised with how it ended. Not even because Jericho got pinned, but it just felt like not the finish, and then it was the finish.
Right.
I thought like Ortiz punched him with like an object, and that's why a clothesline was able to pin him. But no, That's not what happened. Jericho basically got right up after he was pinned and immediately turned his focus to Eddie Kingston, who had come down and returned, which he got a big reaction to be in Santana and Ortiz's corner. So if you think about it, we should get Jericho and Eddie at Revolution. We're also going to get Punk at MJF, and we're probably going to get something important involving Danielson and Moxley. And the promos that they're going to do over the next however many weeks are left are probably going to be awesome. All of those combined.
Yeah. And I think you probably caught this. I mean, I think a lot of people caught this, but I think one of like the most important kind of things in the match was Jake Hager yelling "why" to Ortiz.
And then every time Ortiz tried to fight back, Jake could stand there and yell at him because it only took him one hit to get that guy onto the ground.
But yeah, I mean, but I think it definitely added like an element of like, Jake Hager's like, why are you doing this? Like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is like, we talked about Jericho missing some lines. Yes,
they're affected by this.
Right. And for a guy that doesn't talk, to him to just like yell at you, like, to me, that was like a huge clue of like something's going on.
It wasn't the smoothest match start to finish, but it was what I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there was some mistimed elements, but like everyone else, I mean, everyone in the match looked good.
The only thing with this is, unless they're going to end up heels, Santana and Ortiz need to win those damn titles. If they're not going to be heels, like the next important thing they do needs to be winning those titles. There can't be any more like if they fail, they've proven Chris Jericho right. I don't want to watch
that. Yes, but I think this is the Chris Jericho, Jake Hager heel turn for sure.
Yeah, I think that's more likely. And then Sammy goes off and does his own thing.
Yeah. And I mean, Jake Hager being a bodyguard and having good tag matches. I mean,
sign me up.
And he still had a championship match with Moxley too, being a bodyguard. So it's like, I don't want to keep proving Jericho right here, but like, I think everyone's had like a title match in the faction.
So it's all on them at that point.
he got him to the promised land. They got to kick the door in.
He can walk you to the bowl. He can't make you drink.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
There's another promo after this, and it wasn't one of my favorite things on the show, but for the point of explaining how much I love this, it was my favorite thing on the show. It was the Adam Cole, Young Bucks, Red Dragon.
You're right.
I got a fucking kick out of this. I loved it.
It definitely set up for a lot.
And the lines were just so great. Like the Young Bucks immediately, they want to know where Kyle O'Reilly has been. And Kyle O'Reilly's like, I just had my first kid. And of course, the other two guys go, oh, really? Yeah, I've got two. Oh, congrats, man. I got three of those. And Adam Cole is not having this. He is so irritated that these people are arguing that he just stops everything and yells, you all have beautiful children. All of you. Okay. And I don't know why, just the way he interrupted them, the way they all went quiet as soon as he started speaking, like all of it was great.
Yeah, but no, they left ending like a lot to, you know, which ties is he going to?
Yes. They both teams sat there and said that they were going to win the Battle Royal. And I thought it was funny that the Young Bucks were like, you know, or maybe we'll win and you guys always have the next week. Which I thought was really good. And then both teams wander off in different directions, and Adam Cole is like looking at both directions, you know, a classic trope. And then something I
Brandon
didn't
Cutler.
Yes.
Brandon Cutler asked, which way are you gonna go? Like it's like kind of like poking fun at him. He's like, shut up, Brandon.
Which way are you gonna go, Cole? I really like that. That was top 10 out of 10 segment.
Yeah, so Brandon Cutler with his little stuff, and then obviously him getting dunked on, you know, the beginning and end of like, is the camera rolling, Brandon?
Yes.
Or it's like, turn the camera off.
Absolutely classic. Those guys are so good at doing like those little backstage. It's serious, but it's funny. Like that's what I was saying like a couple weeks ago. Like these guys are that good that they can do haha funny blanketed in something that is very serious.
and like backstabby and like it's backhanded compliments the entire time.
Yes, so they can do that and get away with it, and I just think people take for granted how skilled you have to be to pull that off, and they can.
Right. But yeah, then we head over to the no DQ match with Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa.
It wasn't an all-time classic, no DQ or anything, but this is what happens when you let two women who know what they're doing go to work. I thought this match was pretty damn great.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's excellent. I mean, like I said, it's nothing that's going to blow, the roof off, and I'll have like, that lights out match like Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa where that blew the water out, but like very, very good. Like you said, they know what they were doing. Everything was clean, crisp, precise. Yes. I thought Thunder Rosa always broke Mercedes Martinez's wrist right off the rip.
Oh, I know.
When she swung the metal pipe in the chair, it like the pipe went flying out. She like grabbed her wrist. I'm like, did she just like snap her wrist?
I thought that Thunder Rosa coming out dressed in the Kill Bill attire and like walking out the way she walked out was so funny and so great. I will say this. I think that it goes understated the impact that a steel chair can make within the confines of a wrestling world, so to speak. Like in theory, if you're trying to take somebody out in a back alley, at a drug deal, having a lead pipe, it's a great strategy.
Yeah.
But in the confines of a wrestling match, the chair is simply too much surface area.
Right,
for
correct.
A pipe to be able to beat it. So I question that strategy, given how many chairs there were just laying around. But other than that,
yeah, they're just underneath the ring itself.
Yes, but other than that, flawless execution by both of these ladies, and it was awesome match. Sets up everything you need to set up. I mean, there was two things from the match specifically that I think were worth mentioning. The first being the spider German suplex off the top rope.
Yes.
Poor Thunder Rosa. R.I.P. Rosa's neck. The spider German was brutal. Honestly, the finish was only okay. Like, the match was good, but the finish was only okay because Thunder Rosa takes this fucking brutal landing and is up like 10 seconds later, firing up and finishing Martinez by giving her the Fire Thunder driver, which was supposed to be on a bunch of chairs, but kind of just ended up on her lap and then pinned her. But it was
it was like right on her thigh. It was obviously protect, but I mean,
but still good. It was just a little bit of a like, okay, well, I figured there would be a little bit more of a back and forth after the Spider German than Thunder just taking over after being destroyed. But other than that, it was pretty excellent. And you want to take us through the post-match stuff?
Yeah, we had the extracurriculars.
Yes.
The extracurriculars. And Britt Baker walked down with Rebel or Reba and
Rebel,
Jamie
Reba.
Hayter. Yes. And Jamie Hayter. And then Britt Baker went up to Cobra Kai. There's her sensei.
Asked for confirmation.
Asked for confirmation. He's like, you know what to do. And so she just, gave her the cut the head off, and then Jamie Hayter attacked.
I really like how they did this, because how many times do you see somebody who's debating leaving the evil team that they were a part of? And like the evil team, Britt, Jamie, they hand her the pipe, like finish her off. How many times do we see, the person stands there and like they can't decide what they're going to do, and then they turn around and they attack the bad guys? Like that is like classic wrestling trope. If I'm Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, I do exactly what they did. If she doesn't attack this poor girl immediately, you're going down. Like, what do you have to decide? Like, what are you sitting there contemplating? Like, if you were paid to do this job, if you're even considering not doing this, just boom, attack them. And that's exactly what they did. So
I mean, she's already down. She can't even defend herself. Like,
what are you
hit her a couple times and you're done.
So I really liked how they did that, because in every other circumstance, Mercedes would have stood there and, oh man. And then after a grueling match, somehow had the energy to fight off three people at once. So I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, no, that was very good. That was very good. But yeah, I just like that little, again, a little cameo.
Yes.
With their sensei, like it just kind of, it worked for the episode.
And, given AEW, you really never know. For all we know, the fucking Cobra Kai could end up a recurring character.
Yeah, honestly, but I mean, it definitely helps. Like the AEW saying, like, hey, like the guy from Cobra Kai is,
It was cool.
Obviously, yeah, publicity and stuff like that, and
It was very
how
cool.
Cobra Kai, yeah. So I liked it. It was a little nice touch.
I did too. I liked all of it.
And then this is the Jay White promo, correct? Okay. Yes.
Good
and
promo.
That was very. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. He kind of took shots at everyone. It was awesome.
He did. I have no idea who he's friends with and who he doesn't like, and I guess that was the point. I don't think
but I just
Kenny.
He dunked on Kenny. It's just like
he might like Adam Cole. I think doesn't seem like he's a fan of the Young Bucks, but he also complimented Nick Jackson's earring. So this guy, the master manipulator, is Don Callis Jr.
The invisible hand. Are you telling me that the Don Callis has another protege?
Oh God, absolutely not. That would be like Paul Heyman having to decide between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. If Don Callis had to make a decision between Kenny Omega and Jay White.
Is this going to set up God versus the Young Bucks?
I mean, that's a good match. It sets up it sets up whatever they can get from New Japan, I think.
Right.
And
it seemed like it kind of just like left it like you said, like there's a lot of unfinished business, so to speak. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just like left a lot to be desired. Like,
so I think the thing to consider with this is that remember, Jay White was not signed, but they negotiated the deal for Jay to come in and do some stuff 2 days before the show, or 3 days before last week's Dynamite show.
Right.
And the reason being is that Tony Khan kind of stepped over his own words and promised something.
The forbidden door.
Promise. So I think whatever Jay White's storyline is going to be was always supposed to happen. It's just now their hand was forced and they've got to do some stuff earlier. And so there's going to be at the beginning a little bit of filler stuff so that they can get to the point where they were actually going to start. Maybe they just had to drag it out a couple more weeks. I feel like
this is like the Trent Beretta, like kind of these filler matches. Okay.
What other use do the best friends have? We've seen nothing but best friend filler matches for 6 weeks now.
Well, God forbid, Trent Beretta, out of all people,
he's gonna land on his neck.
Well, I mean, he's wrestled more than Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, Chucky T.
You're gonna make me angry.
This man deserves every right to just leave best friends. They're the worst friends for just pushing him out there.
I am sticking with my statement that every single day that Trent Beretta does not leave the best friends, as the character Trent Beretta, I lose more respect for him every day. Every day that he sticks with those assholes. Guy literally broke his neck for these people.
And they picked up Wheeler Yuta to replace him.
Assholes.
And then once he gets back, you're going to wrestle every week.
Yeah, and we may or may not be out there for you.
No one helped him.
Nobody helped him. Fucking idiots.
You think Orange Cassidy came out there to help? He just went over there to protect himself.
Oh my God. He needs to leave those jamokes. Fucking schmucks.
They're the worst friends. They're not the best friends. They're the worst friends.
Yeah, they're the fair weather friends. That's what they are.
They go with the flow. They don't.
When it's convenient to back Trent, they back Trent.
Yeah, where was Orange Cassidy to help Trent after he takes a Canadian destroyer from Nick Jackson after having neck spinal fusion surgery?
He was doing soft kicks in the back to pop people who were just hanging out and catering.
All right, so we're done with them.
We're done with this. TNT Championship match.
Yes, the TNT Championship match, and wow, what a match!
What do you expect?
Some of the stuff I didn't expect in the match.
I mean, yeah, you're right. There was some very death-defying things in here. These guys, dude, like right out of the beginning, they were let's go Darby, let's go Sammy. I mean, they were over like gangbusters. And very quickly into the match, Guevara had that he was hanging him from the rope, and he did the swanton on him, and Darby just took the most gruesome looking slingshot off of that top rope and onto the floor. I mean, good God.
I knew they were setting up one part when Darby did not just full head sprint for a tope.
Yeah, you had to know. That's the one downside of being a tope sprinter is you might.
Is there something they're setting up?
Yes, you might give us a little tell when you're not running full speed, but like that was ridiculous.
No, very ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, there's only two people that I know that like speed up into the tope, and that's Ray Phoenix and Darby. Yes. And so when they're not going like 100 miles an hour, something's being set up.
Yeah, that's very true, and a good catch.
Yes, very.
Dude.
So we saw two straight weeks. So we've had Hangman take a blackout onto the steel steps.
Yes,
and literally bounce like a few inches off the steel steps.
Yes,
and land back on it and fall down. We had Sammy willingly jump off onto the apron, knowing that Darby's moving, and literally bounce up and onto the ground.
My God.
That's 2 straight weeks of people willingly doing crazy stuff.
This is what they do, man. This is what they do. Back to the senton onto the apron.
Yes.
That was when things started to near their end. I mean, the whole match is just top rope Spanish fly, springboard drop kick.
They were wrestling tennis.
Yeah, they were beating the shit out of each other with slaps, a bunch of great near falls with cradles, the cutter on the floor with the dive.
The code red too.
So we get all the way to that top rope senton onto the apron, and Allen moves and Guevara hits, and it just is brutal. And Allen goes to set up Sammy for the coffin drop to his back, but fucking Jose
goes after the icon.
Makes the big mistake of going after the icon, but it was all just a distraction. I love how Andrade enlisted. Like, he could have squared up with Sting himself while Jose went, but that wasn't how Andrade was flying. He was going to send Jose into the fire to get his ass kicked. But, maybe he thought that he would get his ass kicked, so he didn't want to risk having him be responsible hitting Darby with the tablet, which, by the way, he kind of hit those guys with that tablet a little bit hard.
He smoked Darby on the top.
What? It's like a real tablet. It looks like
he smoked him.
I know. So he hits Darby with the tablet. Sammy recovers. Obviously, he is unaware of everything that went down. Hits him with the GTH and pins him. And then Andrade comes in and
smokes Sammy with the
Matt Hardy runs down.
But Matt Hardy did come running and just start pummeling Darby.
So Matt Hardy runs in to beat Darby down. Sammy chases him off, and then Andrade hits him in the back very hard with an iPad and walks off with both TNT championships, which I don't know why this bothers me. I don't know why there's still 2.
I know. That's so dumb. Sammy keeps wearing 2 to the ring.
It almost makes me want him to lose. I'm starting to jump on your train. Like, bro, we get it. We get it. You beat Cody. You unified the interim title with the real title. Stop carrying him around. You look like a schmuck.
Is he a mark for the TNT championship belt?
Absolutely. Yeah. That would apply here. Yeah, for sure.
That would apply.
But that's how
like I said, I just there's definitely I was gonna say when last week Sting said that Andrade meant it. I mean, he did mean it. He did come out with the TNT championship belt.
I mean, shame on you if anybody out there thought he didn't mean it.
Yes, right.
What are you watching? But so show went off the air with Andrade raising both belts. I really, really hope that I don't think it's going to be a 3-way for the TNT title, because there's already going to be a 3-way for the tag. Titles. So, I mean, I think it's kind of a cop-out if Andrade and Darby just both end up automatic qualifiers for the ladder match, because Darby was screwed. He should already get another title match.
Right, yes.
Instead, he has to go to a ladder match. Doesn't seem fair.
No. But yes, you're hopping on to, I guess like I said, I don't know what it is about Sammy, and like I said, it's probably the booking, but dude, his TNT Championship run just ain't it for me.
You know what I actually think it is? Take all
What's
that
that?
out. Whoever saw Sammy strap both title belts around his waist the very first time after he had already unified them, whoever saw him do that and didn't immediately say, hey, bro, probably just need one belt, that's whose fault all this is. For real.
Yeah.
All it would have taken is somebody without their head up their ass to say, hey, Sammy, you kind of look like a schmuck wearing both titles, Oh, okay. I'll just wear one. You're right. It doesn't make sense. Boom. Problem solved.
How come the
That
vlog
guy's
crew
fault.
didn't
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's got all these safeguards around him to prevent him from doing something like that. He comes out with both titles for 2 weeks. Any other thoughts on the Dynamite show?
I would say obviously very good episode. Kind of circling back to the whole Cody thing. I think Dynamite's in a great place without Cody too. So
yeah, with or without him, it's a show that has picked up steam, and even before in our opinion, even like before the picking up steam point, it was still doing well. They just weren't giving us the things that we wanted.
Right.
So it's hard to say that it's going to be a big deal. It'll mean more things down the road. Like if Cody ends up Universal Champion for 2 years, that will be more. It'll mean more than if he has one good feud and ends up in the mid card for the rest of the time.
Right.
So time will really tell what it actually means. But yeah, I think with or without him, everything's.
It was a banger of an episode for the one technically without him.
It was. All righty. Well, we will move into Rampage then.
There we go.
Rampage. It's time to talk a little AEW Rampage. Fish, I know you just finished the show actually recently here.
Yes.
What'd you think about it?
Overall, I still think it's good. I still think it's very consistent on what they're putting out. Kind of short and sweet and to the point. Simple as that. Like this episode, I wouldn't say is like necessarily like the best card out there.
Yeah.
But everything else, everything flowed, and that's what's nice.
There's all kinds of redeemable qualities on the show, even when it's not like a can't miss show.
Very, very, very solid wrestling. Nothing to complain about.
We can get into it, but the thing that we should probably follow up with, or lead off with rather, is because it has some AEW implications, is the Jay White turn on the Tongans.
Yes, I saw that Twitter clip from Impact.
Jay White was out there with Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, and when the ref had gone down outside, Jay White slid into the ring and gave Tongaloa the Blade Runner, and then the Good Brothers magic killed him and pinned him.
Yeah.
So lots of AEW implications with some of the storylines and whatnot that are about to follow here. All right, well, let's start with some Rampage. What kicked off the show here?
So we had Adam Cole, Bay versus 10 of the Dark Order.
Yes, Adam Cole tried to kill himself in a match against 10 on Rampage. Excellent.
Landed on his head like 3 times.
Some of them were brutal too. The one
German
German
were
bad. Two of them were really bad.
Yes.
They gave 10 a lot in this match, which
they did. And it helps, kind of with necessarily like 10, like just being a bigger guy, like he can kind of show off, in those pictures, like he's just ragdolling Adam Cole around.
He did ragdoll him a little too much on a couple of those times. Early on, there was a German suplex by 10 where I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know if Adam Cole was trying to get all the way over and like backflip. I don't know, but it was very low to the ground and he did not have enough space to flip all the way over.
Just landed right on his head and neck.
Right on his head. Oh God, that was brutal. I was terrified that they were actually going to try and do a Panama Sunrise with that guy. Terrified.
They set it up a few times.
Oh God, yeah. And every time I was like, there's no way this big fucker is taking a Canadian destroyer, right? And thank God he didn't.
Only Luchasaurus is probably the biggest guy in AEW that takes Canadian destroyers.
Oh God, yeah, and he shouldn't either. It scares me every time. He gave that gigantic clothesline.
Oh yeah.
That Adam Cole, this time he definitely tried to flip all the way over and did not.
I'd say this one was on Adam Cole for sure.
Yeah, bro, he killed you. If you'd just gone down like really fast, people
or just
would
on
have
your
bought
back,
it.
right? He would have. It
You
would
didn't
still
have to
sold
do
it.
that.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
Hopefully he makes it to Revolution. So they were going for that Panama Sunrise. 10 kept countering it, and eventually he got Adam Cole in the Hurt Lock.
The Hurt Lock.
10's a big Bobby Lashley fan.
On this podcast known as Bobby Ashley.
Oh yeah, he's a big Bobby Ashley fan. And classic Adam Cole runs the ref into the corner, low blows 10, super kicks him, hits him with the knee, wins the match. And
here comes the boom.
Yeah, the boom was lowered all over 10. And Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish came out to celebrate with him, and that was kind of that. Solid match. 10 was a little. He needed to calm down just a touch. That's all I can say.
Yeah, though that some of those maneuvers were a little too dangerous on the spectrum.
Adam Cole clearly wanted to make him look good, and I mean, he did make him look good. It was just, I don't know, chill.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got some important stuff.
Yes.
Coming up, and 10 does not.
Very true. There was a video package after that. MJF.
It was the CM Punk and MJF dog collar match promo.
That I'm video pretty excited for it. So
should be a lot of fun.
Yes,
that one's definitely looking like it's going to be. They're selling that one really well.
As much as I know Adam Cole Hangman Page is going to be a great match, and as much as I would buy this pay-per-view anyway, because I just know the quality of what I'm getting when I buy their shows, CM Punk versus MJF is the reason that I would like to watch.
Yeah, and it's finally, I think everyone's coming to that conclusion that MJF is finally going to get his comeuppance.
Hopefully.
We still neglect the fact that the captain's the only one to beat him in 2022.
It's true. Years down the road or months down the road or whenever MJF does get his first title shot, we will be the first people pushing to give the captain a title match since he holds a win over MJF. It's only fair.
Yes, we'll lobby for him on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll get a campaign going.
Yeah, get the captain on there.
An online petition.
Oh man, that will be a riot.
Yes.
But so then after that, we move into Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin, Part 3.
At one point in this match, Jericho on commentary, which this is one of those times where I'm pretty sure he was just talking to talk and didn't actually even have a plan. He just started talking. He said that Dante Martin appears to have Powerhouse Hobbs' number, and Taz immediately goes, "Chris, they're 1-1."
And Ricky, they both, Taz and Ricky just ganged up on Jericho. It was awesome.
They were not happy with Jericho making that analysis. Not at all. I got a kick out of that.
Shout out to St. Cloud, since Jericho said Dante Martin jumped from St. Cloud to Minneapolis or something.
Yes.
I can't remember the whole line, but
he said coming down from St. Cloud after he had done a springboard.
Yeah. So shout out to St. Cloud, Minnesota.
What did you think of the match overall?
Powerhouse Hobbs just looks like a beast. I mean,
Powerhouse Hobbs looked really good in this.
Yeah. I mean, Dante Martin didn't really get a whole lot of offense, and which I was honestly a little surprised. I mean, obviously, if I had to pick a favorite, I'm Team Taz, so I would like to see Will Hobbs win
naturally.
But they had Wardlow and Keith Lee qualify, so I figure they might want to sprinkle in a Dante Martin, in that mix, so to, you know what I'm saying, just kind of mix it up. But those guys, I mean, Hobbs, Wardlow, and Keith Lee, I mean, those are three huge men. Yes.
Unbelievable.
So for a ladder match, I mean, that's I don't know what to expect now.
Well, something tells me that you can expect the last 3 participants to be people who are going to be caught by the first 3 participants.
Yes, right.
During the entire match.
Oh man.
This match though, Hobbs attacks Dante Martin before the bell, and right out of the bat, they were hitting each other pretty hard because he kind of squished this guy in the corner to start the match.
Oh yeah.
Dante did have a little bit of offense here. He was hitting some Inzaguri.
He had that one tornillo or something where he jumped off the top rope. That was he impressive. Gets incredible height.
He does. But he doesn't even need the springboard to get that kind of height.
No, he does not.
The one thing that he does, and he did this kind of in the opening little back and forth of the match, once he had a little bit of control, he always does these drop kicks where he will try and go like off the top rope or a springboard, and he'll just do this gigantic shotgun drop kick in midair. And he never gets all the way there. He always comes up a little bit short, or like
he's not enough
away.
distance. He gets the height, just not enough distance.
Yes. There was at one point where Dante Martin went for the springboard. He was going to do the thing where he does a standing jump onto the top rope and does whatever move he does after. And it was a little bit mistimed, but it was still pretty creative just because of how physically impressive it is. Dante does a standing box jump, essentially, gets all the way to the top rope. And Will Hobbs is a little bit late, but I also think Dante Martin just didn't have the best balance either. Because the spot was
still worked.
Oh, it still worked. Yeah. It was just like, it was a very good spot. You could tell that it was just a touch mistimed, but basically Hobbs grabs the top rope. He jumps back up and grabs the rope as Dante's balancing on there, and he falls flat on his back. Which that sucked.
Stops the momentum. Yes.
that had to have sucked. They ended up outside of the ring. I also thought it was pretty impressive when Hobbs threw him from the floor back into the ring.
And I don't know if you caught this, but Will Hobbs in the background was doing the Keith Lee bask in his glory.
And then he followed that up by entering the ring and throwing Dante Martin back and forth as high as he could every time. And at that point in the match, that's when I sat there and thought that Hobbs was winning. I thought Dante would win coming in because he's going to be in a ladder match and be the guy who does all the cool stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's my thought process too. But obviously, Team Taz.
The minute that I saw him start beeling Dante Martin back and forth, I knew I was pretty sure Hobbs was going to win, because there are going to be some smaller guys in this match. And there will absolutely be a point in the match where Will Hobbs and Keith Lee will just take turns throwing said smaller guy back and forth from one another, just across the ring, having a competition to see who can keep it up.
I was going to say, I don't know if this is a prediction, but I think I would consider it a prediction, but Ray Phoenix is making his return for the ladder match.
Or Darby Allin gets royally screwed and he's forced to be in the ladder match after some other guy cost him the championship, and Keith Lee and Will Hobbs, they have a nice game of catch with Darby Allin in the.
Well, just remember that like Darby Allin, like Brian Cage, like threw him like as hard as he could at that ladder 2 years ago or something.
That was brutal.
Yes. So I don't know if Darby needs to be in more ladder matches with big human beings.
Well, I mean, Darby doesn't need to do anything. He just does. I mean,
that is a fact.
But ended up being a really good match. Hobbs ended up setting up a torture rack, and there was a springboard uppercut from Dante Martin that was the most preposterous looking move that I've ever seen, just because it looked so unbelievable. But then out of nowhere, Will Hobbs just hits a spine buster and wins.
That spine buster, like, fast and hard. Like that one, like
he gives a great spine buster.
Yeah. No,
spine on the pine, baby.
Yeah, spine on the pine. And he does it very efficiently.
Yeah, he does. I mean, shit, it looked like a finish. I just was surprised that that's when it happened.
Right. Yeah, no, they were really good with the timing on that one, like, because that was an unexpected one.
Oh yeah, it worked, but it was still unexpected. So that good on them. It was a fun match. It was actually, I don't know that it was better than the first one that they had, or was it the second?
Remember the first one they had was where Will Hobbs had the concussion, basically.
Oh, okay. I think the second one was probably the best one, but this was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. And then we had the Jade and the Bunny segment.
Matt, the Bunny and Jade are gonna wrestle, which is fine. I just wish they hadn't referred to it as a money match, because it's not. But anyway, the big takeaway from this segment for me is that Matt Hardy is making it blatantly obvious that Jeff Hardy is going to be coming in AEW sometime soon. His
erratic behavior.
And he was going up to to what's his face, Mark Sterling, and he was like,
Yeah, Mark.
extreme or whatever he was.
He did that to Tony too. He was like,
Oh,
he
he
went
did
up
it
and
to
like,
Tony
what are
too.
those?
Yes. He's just making it so painfully obvious that his brother's coming in, and like, I'm here for it. Matt Hardy's quite funny.
Matt Hardy's hilarious. But yeah, basically, it was Matt Hardy's promo. That's all.
Oh yeah.
After that, we went into the Serena Deeb 5-minute challenge.
Yeah, not much to say about it. Serena Deeb basically dominated her, and it took. I'm interested to see how they do this because last week she pinned somebody in roughly a minute. This week it took her a little over 2 minutes. So my thinking is that it takes a little longer each time.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like she was getting, so to speak, a little bit more cocky through it and had her pinned, pulled her up.
Yeah.
Wanted to do more. So it's like obviously like she could have put it away sooner.
She could have put away both matches before the minute mark that she's done so far. But, in typical heel fashion, what she's going to do is each week that this goes on, she's going to toy with opponents more and more until one day somebody starts countering some of her bullshit. And then it's going to be a race against the clock because Serena Deeb has already wasted 3 of the 5 minutes. It's like she's getting more comfortable wasting time.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely something to keep the eye on. But that 5-minute challenge is always great.
Yeah, I love Serena Deeb. She's awesome.
Yeah, great wrestler. Then we had that Moxley and Danielson video package as well.
Very interested in that.
That'll be really good.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Those video packages on Rampage were very, very good.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of the video packages. I think there's rarely a bad one.
I just need more sit downs of JR from time to time. We haven't gotten one in a while.
He was recovering doing his chemotherapy treatment.
Right, that is true.
So it's not like he's been around, but if he's back and he's good, let me get a sit down with JR. The last one I think was with Serena Deeb.
Yeah, it could have been because I was thinking Andrade, but yeah, Serena Deeb was probably the last one because it was a Sheeta for that 5th match together or something.
Yeah, for their never-ending series of matches.
And then we kicked it off to
the main event.
Yeah, we kicked it off to Mark Henry for his interview.
Yeah, Jay White talks good. Trent was not taking it seriously, and then they headed.
He was ready to. He was just ready to go to the ring.
Yeah, just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah,
and this Mark match Henry I thought was awesome.
Oh yeah, great match. Very, very good match, and it's great because Jay White did exactly what every heel does, and like every good heel does is right when the momentum's like not going their way, just roll out of the ring and take your time, catch your breath. Yes. Every time he did that, he got some boos, and I was just like, oh, that's great.
See, in New Japan, he does that, but he does it like he did it way better in the context of a television match. But for a little while, Jay White got a lot of heat because he would do that right away. Like he would have these 45-minute world title matches, and he would spend the first 10 minutes of it trying as hard as he can not to fight the other guy at all. And, the last 35 minutes were always just a banger of a match, but he did it so often that people were sitting there like, okay, like, would it not have been a much better match if it was just 35 minutes where they actually wrestled? Like, because he still rolls out and does that stuff intermittently throughout. It's just, but like, I like that stuff because I don't think it's something that you see done like very effectively. And it's so obvious.
The only person who does it in AEW effectively is MJF.
Yes, absolutely. It's the same thing. But most people, it's just like they don't take the smart, easy maneuver. Like just roll out of the ring, catch your breath. I mean, come on.
And then we got a bunch of Too Sweets as well.
Oh, he loves the Too Sweet. Jay White, he's an adopter.
Yeah, so I definitely got my fixin' of Too Sweets for 2 weeks in a row, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, you might overload. We might need a week off.
I'm gonna overdose on Too Sweets.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah, I can't have that. Just get them up.
But as far as the match goes, there was some wrestling back and forth early on. These guys hit each other really hard, like really hard, especially towards the end. I'm trying to figure out where we came back from break. That's really what I want to know. They gave these guys a lot of time. There was some brutal German suplexes. I love.
Trent took a God, what was that move he did off the rope? He jumped outside. He just like landed like right on the stomach. On the outside, Jay White was like supposed to catch him and like just didn't.
Oh yeah, the totally missed catch. That was not great.
Trent landed right on
It
his
was a
like stomach.
moonsault,
A
wasn't it?
moonsault, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
God, that was brutal.
Just did not catch him.
Dude, and I think like Jay White was in place to catch him, and you could tell that he wanted to, but I think where he was standing, that Trent's knees were gonna slam right into his head. And I think that's why he moved at the last second, because he was about to get clocked. So it's like he tried to stay under Trent without also getting clocked in the face by Trent.
Right.
And Trent just pancakes right on the floor outside.
That
Man,
hurt.
that looked brutal.
I don't know how he like got up after that.
No, I don't either.
And finished and wrestled for like 10 more minutes. I felt like
for a while longer. Yeah. The other brutal move that it's one of my personal favorite. So Jay White doesn't do a lot of like flashy stuff, but he's very good at like making you believe that he studies his wrestling, like who he's wrestling, so that he has counters and he's got game plan, and that's like the kind of wrestler that he is. But all of the moves that he does do are absolutely brutal. All of them look like they could kill a guy.
Right. Yeah. They're very like fast, efficient, clean, and powerful.
Dude, the suplex onto the chair outside the barricade, the half and half suplexes in the ring, the side suplex over the ropes where Trent just smashed into the apron. I mean,
yes, where Jay White threw him onto the apron. Yes. Oh my God.
Just everything that Jay White does looks like it's brutal. After they were on the outside, Trent went for the spear and Jay White just sticks his knee up, and Trent was going like pretty goddamn fast and just runs right into this dude's knee. Ah.
And like, we keep talking about this, and like the one person that should not be landing on their head routinely is Trent. And he's done it every single week since being back. Week.
And it's basically Jay White's entire moveset too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also willingly took a Canadian destroyer from Nick Jackson a couple weeks ago.
He did do that. Yeah. I mean, that's on him. I mean, they're all on him. Like, he doesn't have to land on his head. There are other ways to pull these things off. I mean, Jesus. Towards the end of the match, this is when they were really hitting each other hard, really hard. And Trent ended up hitting a gigantic clothesline and then a pile driver. Didn't beat him. Trent eventually tries to set up for that strong zero, and Jay White counters it into one of the coolest Blade Runner counters you're going to see, and ended up winning the match. That counter was very cool.
Yeah, and like it wasn't like it didn't look herky jerky at all either. You know what I'm saying? Like everything like that going into that Blade Runner was very smooth as well.
Yeah. Jay White has come a long way. That's why I love his style of wrestling, because somehow he will take the most basic moves that you see and he'll find like 15 ways to counter them. And then all of Jay White's high spots become the cool ways in which he's countering these basic moves. Like he's got counters for everything. And sometimes those counters work and sometimes they don't. But it's like an endless book of things he could do to at least try and get out of a maneuver. And not just out of a maneuver, but out of the maneuver and into a situation where he now has a move he can use, like right there.
Right. And you don't see that a lot in wrestling either. Like people, like you see a couple counters here and there, but it's like someone who's actively looking to counter.
It makes you feel like he is a competitor trying to exploit weaknesses for real in the person that he's wrestling. And it's just like stuff like that. Like we all know what wrestling is, but stuff like that kind of sucks you into the storyline. You know, like with the exception of Ryan Reynolds, there aren't many actors that can deadpan turn to the screen in the middle of the movie without ruining the experience for you.
Yeah, it's not Deadpool.
Yeah, no. Anything that isn't Deadpool, like if someone in the middle of your movie turned to you and went, "Oh, hey, by the way, your favorite's not gonna die." Like what fun is that? So I just like when there are guys who bring that immersion where you can almost get into this world a little more and forget that it is what it is. And that's what I think Jay White is among the best at. So I've always liked Jay White.
Yeah, no, it was very good match.
However, the one thing that wasn't very good was after the match.
I do.
Jay White wasn't even doing anything. ring. He was kind of standing over Trent, but like he wasn't beating him up or anything. And Orange Cassidy rolls into the ring and starts sizing up Jay White. Like,
well, Jay White, give him a little hip check, let him know he's there.
Oh, come on. Incidental contact.
Look, I'm against the good friends. They're not best friends. The fair weather fans. There we go.
Yeah. So Jay White just trying to, get up and move around. Cassidy's in his way.
Celebrate his win.
Yeah. Like, get your boy out of here. Analyze him on the floor. Check on him in the back. Like, he just won a match. He's trying to celebrate. Orange is literally in his way. And then he gets all bent out of shape about being hip checked. Like, dude, get out of the way, Orange.
I think the best was Jay White, like giving like the facial, like, oh, like
yeah.
It's like Orange Cassidy. Whoa.
If that is a Revolution match, I might not watch that match in protest. I mean, hopefully that's not the only thing that they have for Jay White and that he'll be around for a little while longer. But if his only big match on a pay-per-view is against Orange Cassidy, that's a big miss in my book.
Or big Orange miss. Cassidy in the end travels to Japan and challenges.
Keep him.
Just keep him over there.
Yeah, keep him. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Hopefully Jay White is around for longer than just one pay-per-view feud. A lot of the storyline stuff makes it looks like he will be, but if he just came in because Tony felt pressure to bring a guy in and now his big match is against Orange Cassidy, I will be infinitely disappointed. So hopefully he's around for a while and there's this big storyline and Kenny returns and yada yada, which I have a hard time believing they wouldn't go that way because too many people would be sitting here going, what the fuck? When are we getting our storyline? Yeah. So probably we'll be fine, but my face did drop a little when it kind of seemed as if we were going to get a Jay White Orange Cassidy pay-per-view match. Whatever. But that's the thoughts on Rampage. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, you're quoting kind of Orange Cassidy's persona, whatever, Don't
ever say that to me again.
Don't say whatever. Team Taz is the only orange I like.
Yeah, if it ain't Team Taz orange, I don't want it.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, we're gonna actually finish off the show. Did you have any final thoughts on Rampage?
Nope, Rampage was good.
Pretty simple, clean show this week.
Yep. Kind
of just a supplement of what we saw on Wednesday. But we are going to end this week's Gould-Fish pod with a little bit of a game show. Yes. Insert festive game show music here. And what our game show is going to be this week is the Wrestling Observer newsletter year-end awards for 2021 were just released. And we are going to go through and try and see if Fish can get a lot of them right. Now, you have no reason to believe that we didn't sit on social media and Fish doesn't already know all the answers, but here's a little background that might ease your minds. I am a wrestling fan who will read the newsletter, listen to a lot of the podcasts. I always knew what was going on, whether I was watching or not. Would check back in every once in a while and kind of became hardcore again when 2017, 2018, Ring of Honor, NXT, and New Japan kind of all collectively brought me back in. So I keep up and I read all this stuff and I try and know some of the finer details. Now, Fish, more so, this is probably the biggest, it might be fair to say, this is the biggest time you've ever been a wrestling fan. This is the most
into correct.
It you've ever been.
Okay. That is correct.
So it's the most into it he's ever been. But I think it would also be fair to say that outside of checking in on some YouTube videos, like he doesn't really keep up with the outside world of wrestling unless it's something that he sees on Twitter. Is that also fair?
Yes. The only time I ever follow up is if it's something big on Twitter, and that's
or and he'll YouTube, usually call me and see if it's reasonable. Yes.
That's the confirmation I need is calling Gould.
Yeah, and I'll tell him if he should care about it or not.
Absolutely. So, that's how it works.
So a lot of these awards are pretty specific and they encompass lots of companies. So we're going to go through some of the major ones and we'll give him some hints along the way, but we're going to see how many he can get. We're not going to do all of them because some of them, some of them are very difficult to get, but we're going to try and stay within his range. So The first one, the category is worst gimmick. I'll give you, I don't know, I'll give you up to three guesses per category.
The worst gimmick. I will say Alexa Bliss.
Wow, first try. That's by a landslide. 523 total points. Nikki ASH came in second with 54 total points. The next category is going to be best gimmick. This is a tricky one. Yeah,
that's
best
tough.
Gimmick.
Wow, best gimmick. I would still have to. I'd probably say Young Bucks.
Young Bucks not on the list.
Wow.
I think the Young Bucks gimmick goes over people's heads a little bit in the sense that it's not like a gimmick, but they're very gimmicky. They are in the honorable mention with 30 total votes.
Okay. Best gimmick. I'm going to say then Roman Reigns.
Wow. Yep. You got it. The tribal chief.
The tribal chief. Because I was going to say, acknowledge me. That's probably what's been the biggest hit.
Yes. You knew acknowledge me and basically based your guess all off of that. So it must be a pretty good gimmick.
Yeah. Right.
Second place was Orange Cassidy and third place was the Hangman.
I should have guessed Hangman. Oh.
All right. I feel as if the following one isn't necessarily going to be that tough for you. This is Promoter of the Year.
Well, it has to be Tony Khan.
It is by a landslide.
I mean, who else brings in a bunch of people from New Japan and Impact and stuff like that? So,
well, the argument that people make against Tony Khan is that there are two promotions in UFC and WWE that bring in like 30 times more yearly revenue than they do. And so there are people out there making the argument that like, how could somebody who's making this much less than these guys technically win but Promoter of the Year? But in the sense you're talking about with bringing in other people and being able to work with different companies and all of their pay-per-views in the past year, actually they were increased buy rates for all of them from the year before. So when you look at stuff like that, it's a lot easier to consider Tony Khan the Promoter of the Year. And he did win that award by a landslide. Dana White came in second, was short of about 600 votes. In a similar vein, who do you think won the Best Booker of the Year award?
I'd probably still say Tony Khan.
Yes, last year, Tony Khan ended the streak of Gato, who had won Best Booker 4 years running.
Really?
Yeah, in New Japan. 16, 17, 18, 19, Gato won Booker of the Year. Tony Khan is now two times in a row. The
two-time and defending.
Yes. Next award. As much as this, I think it's so funny that they're called the Observer Awards, and then this is one of the categories. Worst Promotion of the Year.
Worst Promotion of the Year.
As if this is some kind of award people want.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would say, speaking of like terminology and like letting people go, I'd say WWE, but
they did win this award in a landslide. Yeah, they 706 votes for this one. Second place was CMLL in Mexico at 83. Yeah, I don't know. WWE definitely is a worthy candidate. I'm just surprised they won by such a landslide.
That is a wide margin.
So you may or may not get this next award. It is the worst feud of the year.
Worst feud of the year.
Yes.
I could probably tell you what I thought was one of the worst ones.
All right, let's hear it.
It was probably Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo.
That came in third with 38 with 38 votes.
Worst feud. This is I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Are you tapping out on this one?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know any other feuds. I guess would it be something with Alexa Bliss and I don't know who else she wrestles. Sasha Banks. I don't know.
You're right there. Do you want to try and bring it all the way home one more time?
So Alexa Bliss obviously is one of the part of it.
If you weren't paying attention, you might not even know that this feud happened.
Who's the female boxer or kickboxer? What's her name?
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler, yes.
Shayna Baszler. That one came in second place.
Oh, wow.
In first place with 356 votes. A man who is now making his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, his 4th appearance in this award in the last 5 years. Randy Orton versus The Fiend and Alexa Bliss.
My God.
The Fiend being the guy who has been featured in this award in 4 of the last 5 years.
No way.
So I think it's clear that you don't like, this is how big of an impact these bad things make. You didn't even know Shayna Baszler's name, but you knew that it was this thing that happened that was
She's like a
enough.
badass. Yeah.
You knew that it was justified to be a possible worst feud of the year contender. And you don't even watch. That's how bad
No,
it was.
I don't watch.
Worst match of the year. There's a lot of worse on here. This is super negative, but worst match of the year.
Well, I guess I'll keep the Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler.
No, that was number 5.
That was number 5. Okay. Worst match. God, I am drawing a blank on this one. I would have to say. So if I'm going to think outside the box, I would say something with AJ Styles and Omos having.
No, not on the list. All right, in 3rd place, Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss.
Oh,
in 2nd place, Randy Orton versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt.
So how is that 2 separate ones when they just were the same category?
Well, the last one was feud of the year. And
feud.
Feuded
Gotcha.
with both of them. This is just match, and those are the 3rd and 2nd place respectively. 1st place was Damian Priest versus The Miz from some random show.
I didn't even know they wrestled, to be honest.
I think that it's from January, February, March, April, May 16th, and I think it was the match where The Miz was eaten by zombies. or where Miz's partner, John Morrison, was eaten by zombies. One of them got eaten by zombies, and I think that's the match. Worst television show.
Was it Raw? Is that the worst?
It was Raw, yep. Followed by WWE NXT 2.0.
I was going to say NXT with...
and then Impact Wrestling is 3rd. Although, admittedly, the 2 ones that received the most votes were Raw and NXT. Raw got 669, NXT got 170, and then Impact in 3rd. They got 25.
So it's basically not even a 3rd place. They're just throwing out some...
Not, yeah. Moving ahead here, we've got Best Wrestling Maneuver.
Cool. I could tell you a fan favorite and probably one of the podcasts. I
already know what you're going to guess.
The Canadian Destroyer.
No, we are long past the days of the Canadian Destroyer winning Best Wrestling Maneuver. That's like a headlock now. You know, headlock, hip toss, arm drag, Canadian Destroyer.
Although
I figured you would say that.
Yes. I might have to go with Dave's here and say the Ushigoroshi.
The Ushigoroshi, Big Dave. Nope, the Ushigoroshi not on the list. Last guess.
Last guess for best move. I will say Tornado DDT.
Also not on here. You needed to think more finishing moves. The Adam
more
Page,
finishing. Okay.
The Adam
buckshot
Page
lariat.
Yep,
the one-winged angel.
That was 1st and 2nd.
That's first and
yeah, I don't know if you'll get 3rd, but there's a big gap between 2 and 3.
Was it the Roman Reigns like super punch or whatever?
Oh God, no! I would be I would probably call in. I would have to call into question the sanity of all of the voters if a running jumping punch had actually made it on this list at all. Shingo Takagi, Last of the Dragon, was 3. Will Ospreay took 4th and 5th with the Stormbreaker and the Hidden Blade. So here's a funny one. 6th place is just Darby Allin Tope.
Darby. Nice. That is a good one.
And then Darby Allin also took 7th with the coffin drop. And the reason I'm reading all of these is because the names of these moves just get me all the time. In 8th place, a guy named Tam Nakano, or maybe it's a woman, I'm not sure. But the move name, the Uncut Screwdriver. Followed by Shingo Takagi in 9th place with the Pumping Bomber, which is literally just a really hard clothesline.
I do like Britt Baker's the Fisherman neck breaker. That's a great one too.
That is a good one as well. And then in 10th place was Dante Martin's double jump moonsault, which I think is a stupid move. So
it's not really a finisher, honestly.
Do you want to take a stab at worst major wrestling show?
Well, I'd say Raw again, but
Major wrestling show. So think pay-per-views.
pay-per-views. Okay.
The last one was weekly television show.
Gotcha.
All right. What was the best major wrestling show?
Was that I was gonna say
I will be disappointed if you don't get this one.
I was gonna say Full Gears, but that just
Second place.
It wouldn't be Revolution. All Out then.
Yes, All Out was the winner with the CM Punk first match in 7 years and the double debut at the end.
Yeah.
And then
I was kind of including with the actually kind of the guys wrestling again on Full Gears because that was pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it was second place, and third place and beyond barely received any votes at all. So those were the two landslide victories. So I mean, you named the two that you needed to name to not disappoint me.
There you go.
All right, best television announcer.
Best television announcer?
Yes.
Well, I would say Taz, but
Taz came in 6th.
I'd probably say JR then would probably win it.
JR came in 9th.
JR came in 9th. Is it going to be your favorite than Excalibur?
Yeah, he won.
Excalibur won it. There you go. What did Tony come in?
Tony Schiavone, he came in 3rd.
Yes. Who came in 2nd?
Kevin Kelly, the New Japan League broadcaster, which, you know what? If this was an actual award that was given to people based on their skill as like their job, Kevin Kelly wins this award every single time. And Ian Riccaboni probably comes in 2nd every single time.
What about Mauro Ranella?
He doesn't do TV announcing anymore. If he was a
I know
TV
if he
announcer,
did, would you?
I mean, he would be in the top 3 every year. To me, if you include Mauro Ranallo, the 3 best announcers for any of this, and you can put them in any order, and I'm not going to get upset, is Kevin Kelly, Mauro Ranallo, and Taz. And Pat McAfee's pretty good. So if you take those 4 guys and you arrange them in any of the top 4, I would be fine with that. But dude, from a technical standpoint, like, he's not good. Like, he's just not. I mean, he's funny, but like, he just yells stuff, and all he does is yell moves. And like, he'll occasionally tell the background story, but he'll do it while talking over people. Doesn't matter. I feel bad. Let's move on. All right. Best non-wrestler.
God, best non-wrestler. I will have to say, I would say Don Callis again.
2nd place. He was the 2nd place. He was off of 1st place by 5 total votes.
5 total votes.
Yes. And last year, your boy Taz won it.
Yes, Taz. I figured he wouldn't win it this year. He's still probably top 10, Taz.
He's 4th.
He's 4th. Good. Definitely top 5 material. I'm forgetting his name at the moment. The the team, top American team. What's his name?
Dan Lambert. He was 3rd.
Dan Lambert. He was 3rd. Okay, man. How was it? Paul Heyman or something? Is he
Paul Heyman, 1st place, 369 to Don Callis' 364.
What's Paul Heyman's nickname? Does he have one?
Just Paul Heyman.
Well, I think Don Callis should win for being the quote unquote invisible hand.
He's the advocate. Paul Heyman is the advocate.
But the advocate. There you go. All right, fair enough.
I will just say this one because it's one person you know and then a bunch of people you don't know. Jade Cargill won Rookie of the Year, which 2nd place was a guy named Jack Cartwheel, and 3rd was a place named Lady C. Colton Gunn was in there at 7, but other than that, none of these.
Colton Gunn, there you go.
Most underrated.
Most underrated. That's a hard one.
If you don't get this, you'll probably be pretty upset with yourself after.
Really? Yeah. Wow. Is it one of my favorites or something that I'm just not going to get?
Yeah, probably.
Wow, this has putting some pressure on me here. I guess underrated, I'd still probably throw out Powerhouse Hobbs.
Not Powerhouse Hobbs. It might help you to think more along the lines of underrated based on how they're booked.
Oh, is this going to be the Sammy Guevara? Is this the? Well, he's been
No,
booked
no, no.
well, but
No,
like,
yeah. I'm talking about people who are getting really shafted.
so Brian Cage.
No, not on the
Okay.
list.
Oh, wow.
Doing
Dustin
stuff?
Rhodes.
No. All right. I'll give
This
you
is
one
gonna
more
piss
guess because
me.
you're going to be really mad.
Oh.
They are underrated in the eyes of the fans based on how they're presented on TV. Think along that line.
Underrated. I don't know. And it's actually gonna drive me crazy.
If you want to tap, just say the word.
I'll tap.
Ricochet.
No, no, no.
Yep.
That hurts. That hurts. That got me right here. Right
yeah,
there.
I'd imagine. I told you were going to be really upset.
Yeah, that is a frustrating one for sure.
All right, here's one that you will probably get back. We'll get you back in rhythm here. Best high flying wrestler.
Well, I would probably say Ray Phoenix, but
Ray Phoenix by a landslide. El Hijo del Vikingo came in second. Dante Martin in third. Will Ospreay in fourth. All right, we're getting into some of the more major awards here. The Bruiser Brody Memorial Award for Best Brawler.
I would still probably say Jon Moxley.
Jon Moxley wins. Do you want to take a stab at number 2?
Number 2. All right, I was gonna say, so hear me out. I was gonna say Matt Cardona.
You're overthinking it.
I'm overthinking that, so that's way too far out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was an honorable mention, but he had 11 total votes.
Okay, well, shit. Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. All right, so this one is hilarious. The Bryan Danielson Award for Best Technical Wrestler.
Oh, Bryan Danielson then.
Yes.
He has his own award named after him.
So Bryan Danielson won the Best Technical Wrestler Award in 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. And probably would have continued to win it, but that was the year that he was forced to retire due to some of his brain injuries or whatever.
Right.
And so they forced him to retire and he could no longer vie for the award. And they, in honor of him having to retire, they named it the Bryan Danielson Award, not knowing that he would come back all these years later. But in the last, so 2005 was the first year Bryan Danielson won it. It is now 2022. Between 05 and 2021, only 2 different people have won this award.
Who would be the one in between?
Once Bryan Danielson couldn't wrestle anymore, Zack Sabre Jr. won it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row. So Danielson won it 9 times in a row. And then Zack Sabre Jr. ended up taking the spot. And then Danielson comes back, and it took him 2 years or so, 2-3 years, but he's back on the top of the mountain. All right, next category, most charismatic.
Most charismatic.
Yeah. Now I didn't expect this guy to win, but when you think about it, it's right. It's probably right.
So I would say currently, I am leaning towards Roman Reigns at the moment. 4th, okay. Hangman?
Tied for 10th.
Tied for 10th. Wow. Kenny, maybe?
That's the guy. That's one of the guys tied for 10th.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I have no idea then.
CM Punk.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Which at first glance, I sat there and thought, interesting. But then I thought a little bit more about it. And I don't know that there's anybody on AEW, like Raw and SmackDown always do the let's talk for 30 minutes to start the show. AEW doesn't do that very often. When they do, it's usually CM Punk. And I can't recall one instance in which they've started the show with CM Punk talking where I've been like, damn. I'm usually all over wanting to hear CM Punk just sit down in a ring and talk. Like, who else makes that much out of that? I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Was MJF in the top 5 too?
He was number 2.
He's number 2. Okay.
Eddie Kingston was 3.
Is it real for him or
this award? Absolutely. The following category is most improved.
Most improved. So I am going to go outside the box here a little bit.
Okay.
And
usually not great when we're talking about somebody who's the best at something, but go ahead.
But for most improved, I would say it will be. So I would say either Anna Jay or Ty Conti.
Ty Conti is number 1. Anna Jay is not on the list, but I think that's only because she spent a lot of the beginning of the year injured and recovering.
Gotcha.
So people kind of forgot. But
I just think those two have been like, they've just been featured in so many like big things, and like they just, I don't know, like they just kept reoccurring over and over, and I'm like, wow, like every time they just felt like they got better.
That's who I would have voted for. The next category, feud of the year.
Feud of the year. Well, I'd probably say the Kenny and Hangman.
That is the winner. I don't know the two people in second. MJF versus Jericho is in third. All right, so this award is not voted on. This award has more to do with actual statistical figures and the impact that they were able to make within their company. Who is the best box office draw in pro wrestling?
So I would say probably Roman Reigns.
4th place.
4th place. Then I guess I'd go with Kenny again.
3rd place.
Okay, 3rd place. God, I don't know.
CM Punk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to piss me off, but
the only guy in pro wrestling history to be able to sell out a near 20,000 seat arena in that United Center with nothing announced and not even a official confirmation that he would be there.
Yes,
and yet
correct.
They sold it out in minutes.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, I definitely kicking myself on that one for sure.
The Hodge Award for best non-heavyweight.
Best non-heavyweight. Well, I was gonna say possibly Jungle Boy, but he wasn't. He's still a heavyweight, I guess, so to speak, because he's the tag champs.
He's not on the list.
Would Darby be on it?
Darby is the winner.
Oh, there we go.
All right, the pro wrestling match of the year.
Match of the year?
And if you just pick your favorite matches from the last year, there's a really strong possibility that you can get it right.
I was going to say the Hangman and Kenny.
8th place.
8th place. Wow, I did like that match. Is it going to be someone with Stadium Stampedes too?
No Stadium Stampedes on the list.
Okay. I do have like some favorite matches of like, they're probably not on there, so I don't know.
So the number 1 match of the year, Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers in the cage at All Out.
That was a really good one.
It was really good. And it was one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen ever, and probably will ever see ever. There was just so many singles matches that I loved, which 2nd place was the Will Ospreay Shingo Takagi match from the New Japan Cup, I believe. The 3rd place match was Kenny versus Bryan Danielson. The 4th place match was Paige versus Bryan Danielson. And then the rest of them are kind of just scattered throughout. Best weekly TV show?
Dynamite.
Yep. Rampage was in 2nd.
Even though Rampage is my favorite show.
Yeah, well, a lot of other people's too, since it came in 2nd. Best on interviews. This is easily the tightest category, by the way. The top 3 guys are all really tight.
Well, I would say I enjoyed the Young Bucks the most, so that's who I would go with.
Young Bucks not on there.
Really?
Okay, so interviews is kind of a misleading term. Think more best promo. Because yes, if you're just talking about like Cutler Cam backstage stuff, nobody does that as good as the Young Bucks. But full-on promos, like in-ring stuff, back and forths. Think about
CM
that.
Punk and MJF.
MJF is 1. CM Punk was 3. You want to guess who's sandwiched in between them?
I'll say Cody, but that's wrong.
Cody was wrong. It was Eddie Kingston.
That was Eddie Kingston. Yeah.
And then Moxley was fourth. He just wasn't nearly as close as the other three. Tag team of the year.
Tag team of the year.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be I'd say the Young Bucks, but it'd probably be the Lucha Bros.
It was the Young Bucks. The Lucha Brothers were in second place. And I think that
FTR
had to do
probably
with
third.
FTR was in third, yes. And I think that had to do a lot with the fact that the Bucks were champions for basically
Most of the year. Yeah.
Leading up to them having lost. And if the Lucha Brothers title reign had been better than it was, I think it would have been closer. But I mean, the Bucks had 740 first place votes and 4,400 points overall. They won by 2,000 points.
They're that good.
Yeah. And that is actually the Young Bucks' sixth. So this is the seventh time they've won it in the last 8 years, if I'm reading this right.
Wow.
Correctly.
Well, because then FTR won it 1 year for.
No, the year that the Young Bucks were not doing a lot because they were in the process of getting AEW started, the Lucha Brothers won.
The Lucha Brothers. Gotcha.
This is the main event here. This is the Luthez Ric Flair Wrestler of the Year Award. Now, you don't know some of the names on this list, but I'm going to let you try and get as many of the top 10 as you can. And you can start by giving your prediction for who won.
I'd probably say Kenny.
By a landslide.
By a landslide.
Yep.
So just top 10 in general?
Yep. Just start naming people
So
you think are on there. Hangman was 8.
I'd even throw Roman Reigns, I guess, in there.
Roman Reigns was 2.
CM Punk.
6.
John Moxley.
10.
Bryan Danielson.
4. There's one more that you might get, but the rest I don't even think you've heard of these people.
Might get.
Not an AEW guy. Not
I was going to say
WWE.
Bobby Ashley.
Think non-AEW, non-WWE. I'll give you
okay.
a stab at the last name on the list that I think you know.
I'm going to say Moose.
Very bold guess, but the name we were looking for was the third place winner, Shingo Takagi.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I would know. Yes. Because I watched the Jeff Cobb Shingo Takagi match.
Yes.
So I do. Yes.
But anyway, we didn't go over all of them, but I wanted to give Fish a fighting chance here. And
I did all right.
You've got your finger on the pulse for the most part. That's for sure.
I'm staying with the times, so to speak.
You're keeping up. You're doing your due diligence, and that's all you can ask. And on the topic of the Observer Awards, me and Big Dave actually will be doing a show just on the Observer Awards.
There you go.
Because Big Dave has some big opinions on some of the award winners, and so we need to give him his chance to shine for sure.
Yes, yeah, we need the Big Dave segment for sure, 100%.
Well, this is going to be a tough edit, not gonna lie. So probably should turn this show off, and I should probably get to doing that right now. For Ryan Fish, I'm Matt Gould. Thanks for watching.
Yep, later.
Peace.